All right, I have another video for you that will give you another way to create some interesting shapes out of the normal just cut extrusions or add extrusions. I'm going to show you a loft. So here I kind of played around, created an IndyCar style front and back that would snap to the universal base. And the part that I want to focus in on this vehicle, if I click on the rear section, is this kind of nose shape on the back side. All right, and that was done using a loft command, and you can kind of see what's highlighted here. This part of the cone shape is kind of this arch, or this arch that kind of goes up and around the driver's head. And then I created a work plane that was back an inch or so away from it, and I created another very similar shape but smaller. And then if we continue to travel back that cone shape, you'll see a point that is right back in there, okay? And then my loft actually goes through all three of those things. So the bigger arch to the second arch, all the way down to that point, and that creates my, see if I can get that plane turned off. There we go. Turn those guys off. And then you can start to see what that shape is going to look like. All right. Now this is for an IndyCar shaped car, but depending on what kind of vehicle you're doing, you might want to do something similar to that. So I'm going to show you how that's done. So I'm going to create a new part studio, and I will lay out on the front plane. I'll try to create a simple part here real quick to kind of give us something to work off of. I'm just using the same dimensions we used on our other vehicle. Not really walking you through these things. You guys should know how to put dimensions and create extrusions from my previous videos. And I'm going to extrude that 4 inches. There we go. All right, so I'm going to use this as my kind of generic shape that I'm going to create my parts on. So I'll click on that front plane there, or on the side of my vehicle there, and I am going to, let's view normal. I will use my view to normal and lock it in so it doesn't. I'm going to use that top line right there because I'm going to snap to it. And I'm going to use a spline. So in this particular one, I will show you exactly how I made that cone shape. So I'm going to snap. I did the use tool to kind of give me a line so I could snap to it. And I'm going to just start to climb up the back, creating an arch. Okay, if you notice, I'll drop that spline tool. If you notice at the very top, if I were to mirror that over to the other side, it's going to give me a point at the top. If I want that to seamlessly blend as a nice smooth curve, what I'll want to do is I'll want to create a line. This is just kind of a line to use. I'm going to delete it here in a second. And then I'm going to drop that line, select the line and the spline that I made. And I'm going to create a constraint on there for tangency. And now you got that curve that's going to move nice and smoothly into it. So I'm going to hit that line, 2-finger tap in the background to delete it. Okay, now I'm ready to create a mirror as that jumps to the other side of the plane. So go to your sketch tools, mirror. It asks me to pick a mirror line, which is going to be that plane that's cutting right through the center. And then it's asking me to pick my entities. So there it is. There's my first curve. I'm going to hit the blue check, and that sketch is done. So let's take a little look. So there's going to be kind of the back of my cone shape. Now I'm going to create a work plane that's offset from that. So I'm going to select this work plane, go to your 3D tools and pick plane. That's going in the wrong direction from where I want it to go, so I'll check the opposite direction, and I'm gonna make this go a little bit further, 0.125, push it back just a little bit more. You guys, like I said, based on your sketches that you're doing, I always recommend doing a sketch first. That'll help you dictate what you guys are using as far as dimensions go. All right, so I'm going to select that plane. Now I want to draw on the other side of this plane, so I'm going to kind of rotate this around a little bit, and I'm going to select the back side of that plane, hit my little sketch tool, 2-finger tap, view normal. Okay, I'm going to lock in rotation and zoom in. Okay, I'm going to use the U's to pick that top plane again. And then when I go to put my spline in now, I want to put the same number of dots. It's going to make for a smoother blend. So I'm going to put one down here at the bottom, boom. And I'm going to make another one here, 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 and here. All right, same trick that I used before. Drop the spline and grab your line. I want that to be tangent as well. Drop your line tool, select, whoops, double tap. Select your line and your spline, tangent, double tap, pick your line, 2-finger tap in the background to delete it. Now we're gonna mirror it. Pick your mirror, choose your plane, choose your line that you want to mirror, and finish that sketch. So now I have 2 sketches just like that. Now, if I wanted my shape to be simply a bridge extrusion between those 2 shapes, I can go right to my 3D tool and choose Loft. And I can choose that sketch and that sketch, and I would create kind of this loft extrusion between those 2 shapes. All right, that's not really what I'm looking for. I want that to go all the way down to the bottom. So I need one more point way back there. So I'm gonna delete that, and I will create, you know what? I'll create a point. I'm gonna create another plane. So I'll do a plane again, offset in the opposite direction. This time I want it to go 3 inches back. There it is, way back there, and finish the sketch. And now let's do a sketch on that plane. So a little bit tricky to get to that actual plane. Square it up, view normal too. And let's just put a point. I could do another shape if I wanted, but I'm gonna have this actually come down right to a point, and I want that point. Whoops, I forgot to use that line again. So I'm gonna back that up, and I'm gonna choose the Use tool. Okay, now I'm gonna be able to put that point actually on that line. Sometimes I forget to use that. There we go. So there's my next point, and I'm gonna finish sketch 4. Okay, now let's go back to our extrusion, or our Loft tool, I mean. And it's looking for your items. So I'm gonna choose that sketch. I'm gonna choose that sketch. And I'm going to choose, use my precision tool because I want to just get that point. Boom, right there. All right, looks like it's missing that center sketch. So if I look here, I only have 2 profiles selected. So let me get in there and actually pick that. I'm going to select, get rid of those things. For whatever reason, it wasn't liking those 3 that I picked, or maybe you need to pick them in the right order. So if I go back to my profiles, choose that one, and choose the point. Boom, there it is. Now it's projecting through all 3 of those items. Hit the check, and there is your cone shape that I had created. All right, very, very cool. So you can either extrude between several different planes and sketches on each plane, or through just 2. It's totally up to you. I think on my windshield I had 2 different planes that I was going between. And remember, if it gets tricky selecting your little sketches, you can come over here on the browser as well and choose the sketch that you want to use if you can't select it because you have too many work planes and stuff showing up on there. All right, so that concludes that tutorial. Go back to the assembly one more time and you can kind of see how all that comes together.